I'm going to talk in just a second to Sue Oliver and wife Sarah. They run a social enterprise charity. 100% of the profits go into community projects aimed at bringing people together. They run an interesting project on social gardening, interesting, which has come to tackle mental health and social isolation during the pandemic. Yes, that's a great idea. Sue's also asthmatic and has MS. Oh dear. And has found running a great way to tackle breathlessness. I had a couple of asthma attacks when running and has used breathing to bring her attack under control. Well, we must talk about that. Yes, very good. So Sue and Sarah should be on.
I can put you through now.
Yeah, go for it. Sue and Sarah, hello.
Hi, Eddie. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
You're looking very strong. We've been watching you all morning.
Well, thank you. I'm actually walking at the moment. I've got something weird going on the front. Unusual. It's on the front part of my calf. Usually it's the back bit, but the front is doing an odd thing, so I'm trying to walk it out.
Sue gets that on the treadmill.
Yeah, well, I haven't had it for 8 marathons. It's only marathon 9. It's flicked up. I think it's because I'm adjusting the inclines and trying to spread the muscle stress around. And
I've never run a marathon though, Eddie. You're an amazing woman. I don't know how you're doing it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying. I'm getting better, getting stronger. But I've read out. I don't know if did you hear me do the introduction? I've read out about yourselves. It all sounds amazing. So let's go into it bit by bit. You run a social enterprise charity, and the profits go to community projects aimed at bringing people together. Wonderful. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we set up RainbowBiz CIC about 5 years ago. Sarah and I, the founder directors, we're sat here in our beautiful Hippy Shop, which has been renovated as we speak during lockdown. Sarah manages this beautiful shop, and 100% of all profits from our shop.
One thing, where are you, Sue? Where are you?
We're in North Wales, in a little town, a market town called Mould in the UK.
I know Mould. I think I played Mould. There's a good theatre there in Mould.
Yes, it's fluid.
Yes, they're fluid. I have played theatre fluid, I think. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Good back. So we're here in Mould, and all the money we make through this shop, which Sarah manages, goes into running the enterprise. And I think you touched on the gardening project, which is the first big project we set up many years ago, called Digging D-Side. And I'll let Sarah talk about that because that's her baby too.
So, Digging D-Side, I think really it started because of a love of gardening and the outdoors and kind of how it makes you feel when you've been outside in the garden, listening to the birds, and you just feel like everything's right with the world. So we applied to the council for a community plot and basically had a raised bed accessible allotment plot, which we got a lot of volunteers to come and help us to dig over, and then we started basically inviting people, anybody that wanted to come and join in, make new friends of any ability, any background, and just get together, drink lots of tea, eat loads of biscuits, eat cake, and basically just have a good time watching things grow, looking at the local surroundings, which actually are in the middle of quite an industrial area. So the allotment's like a place of beauty, but just outside of that is quite chaotic and potentially a little bit run down.
Right.
It's kind of like a place of safety and lovely environmental place to be. So each week, not this year because of the pandemic, and I'll explain sort of why in a bit, is like we meet up for 4 hours each week and we tend to the plants that we planted. We discuss what we want to plant next. It's very much volunteer led because I don't know everything there is about gardening. In fact, I probably don't really know anything about gardening, but we all learn together, and we've made little bee hotels, bug hotels.
We've grown a lot of food, and we give the food out to volunteers. There's quite a lot of decorations. So
Excellent.
Making the food that they're growing.
I was just going to say, I have occasionally done gardening. Like when I was a kid, we started growing vegetables for a while, just for a while, kind of a bit of a fad thing in the Izzard family, then it went away. But I've always thought it'd be nice to have a wonderful garden and to be doing gardening. I know Iggy Pop became a very good gardener, or very into his gardening. So, and as soon as I read it, and it said social gardening, tackle mental health and social isolation, I thought, yes, that's a great idea. So it's wonderful that you're doing that. Well done. It's just thinking out of the box. This is the thing I want to encourage people to do. And it should be really taught at school. There should be a lesson, out of the box thing, common sense plus out of the box thinking. You put those two together and you can come up with crazy things.
Yeah, and particularly like during the pandemic, if we were able to meet up, which clearly we can't due to restrictions and social distancing and everything, but we are still very much in contact with the group via Zoom socials.
Yeah.
So we've got a Zoom social on the same day as the gardening group would meet, and we also run like a fatty quiz night on a Friday night.
Which everyone asked me to invite you to last night. So ask Eddie to drop in.
So we do a really relaxed sort of evening. It's like going out with your friends to the pub, except we're not out and we're kind of at home, but we're enjoying each other's company, still having a laugh. And actually, you kind of think, oh God, not the internet again, but actually seeing people's lovely, and you kind of forget what it is to have contact with people.
Yes.
So,
it is way better than it ever has been, isn't it? Because in the olden days, I think Black Death, or even back to the Spanish flu in 1919, no one would have had any contact with their phones then, I'm not sure, but now we can do this at the drop of a hat, which is helpful for us, isn't it? I think it's good for us. Yes.
And it's opened up new doors as well. I mean, I've been listening to you all week now since you started, Eddie, and then we've been talking a lot about being positive in these difficult times and self-motivation, and I love all that, Eddie. It really fills my heart with joy, because that's how we feel. And like we had a lady from Denmark joined our quiz last night, and the guys were astonished that we were there, weren't they? And it's just lovely. We're reaching out to more people in a different way. So hopefully we'll continue a bit of that and get back to our meeting in person at some point as well.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Now, let me talk about Sue, you're asthmatic, and have MS as well. That's a tough thing for both of them. But running is a great way to tackle breathlessness. That sounds amazing. I do know someone who I knew really quite well. Then I heard that died of an asthma attack when they were away and they couldn't, their inhaler, I don't know what the exact situation was, but you've been able to use your breathing to bring your asthma under control. Tell us about that, because that could be helpful for people listening who suffer from asthma.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't run since school, Eddie. It was just my movement was very little, and I tried just to keep healthy with food. And then at the beginning of the pandemic, Sarah wanted to start Couch to 5K, and it was like, oh, I'll come out on the push bike and keep you company, and that just didn't work. So I kind of got involved with it reluctantly, and I did during the time. So we started that back in March, and Sarah's now running 20Ks and raising money for charity and all kinds of things like yourself. And yeah, during one of the early days, I got really wheezy, as I always used to, and out of breath. And I'd forgotten my inhaler. I don't know yourself, when you go out, like a bum bag and all the vitals in it, and my inhaler wasn't there in the early days. I didn't even think about it. It was afterwards, but I did that first couple of times it happened, and I forgot my inhaler. I literally started using the nose breathing techniques of breathing in and really extending out my stomach and holding the breath and then controlling the breathing out through my mouth. I can't do the full nose breathing, you do that, don't you? But I breathe out through my mouth. So, and I do it day to day. If I ever get out of breath or anything, I just bring my heart rate down a bit with the breathing, and it helps with the airways. I found it did anyway.
Well, that's great that you did that and got that under control. And yes, you have to take your inhaler, but well done for doing that, because, well, it's interesting life, isn't it? I find that we all get given these cards at birth. We find out genetic cards, and some people, you're going to have a negative on this, but you got a positive on this, and some people have more negatives than positives, and it can be really tough. It's not fair, life, but we have to deal with these genetic cards and these problems as we can. But it's great that you took that, you saw the problem, you did the breathing, and you brought it all down. So well done.
Just like she was on her own when she went into that asthma attack.
Yeah.
You know how, you probably do know how Couch to 5K works, and I'm not plugging it in.
Oh, no, hang on, but we should tell, no, I was talking, my physio Tim was talking about, tell us about Couch to 5K, and then tell the other story.
Okay, so basically we started Couch to 5K back in the end of March.
Hang on, is that yours? Is that your book, or you just did what the book said?
No, we just did the program, which is an app on our phone.
Okay, it's an app.
Yeah, so obviously a book, which we didn't realise either until you said a bit ago. But
I'm not sure what it is. I just know it exists. So it's an app. So just if people want to do this, it sounds great though. So tell us, it's an app that you download.
Yeah, but Eddie, what it is it's actually NHS approved. So it's regulated, so you kind of feel like you're doing something that's not going to kill you. Yeah. Which is important. Yeah. So we were both really unfit. I have to say that really. We were just complete slugs. And literally I just thought, like my mental health was starting to whir a little bit from the end of March, beginning of April, and I thought, I just need to do something. So I started yoga on YouTube and Afri Fitness, African dance and all this stuff. And then I thought, I need to go and run. I need to run. And I don't know what took over me, but I literally bought some running shoes and I was off. So Couch to 5K, the first week, I think I'm right in saying that you run 3 days a week, each week. And the first week you do 30 seconds of running with maybe 3 minutes recovery in between, which, when you've been running for quite some time, that seems like really basic, but for us, we nearly died. It was like running for 30 seconds was a big deal. I mean, I would never run for a bus. So the change around from starting from, running for 30 seconds for like a week, maybe I think 6 times in half an hour you do it.
Right.
We came back and we fall asleep on the sofa for the rest of the day. We were knackered. So then the next week it'd be like we're running a minute, but you're doing it with less with less recovery. So the recovery can get less, and then the time that you're running gets more. But then they alternate it a little bit, so you get a 10-minute slot of hard running and then a 5-minute recovery. So it really increases your lung capacity and your heart ability, which is obviously what you need to keep running for any length of time. So eventually, at the end of the 9-week programme, both of us were able not to run 5K, because that would have been silly and really fast, but we could run about 3-4K in half an hour. But the important thing was that we didn't stop. So at the end of the 9 weeks, we felt confident enough to start looking at different apps, and we looked at the Nike running app, which is really good, by the way. That's another free app you can do with trainers that speak to you through your headset and stuff. So you can run down by the cycle path if you're in, if you exercise during the pandemic. and literally half an hour you've got a good exercise in, and you come home and you feel fine and dandy. But you can also increase that and end up doing 5Ks or 10Ks or half marathon training or more. So there's lots of different ways you can do that. And then
Sarah's inspired many of our friends as well, Eddie. So we've got a Rainbow Runners group. A big shout out to the guys.
Yeah, Rainbow Runners.
And we've got a little Facebook group where we post what we've been doing and stuff. So it's been lovely, you know, having that in common with other people. I guess you find that talking to people that run is quite interesting. And
Well, there was the guy today, Rob, was 28 stone and ran his first marathon only in 2007. Is now, I think, 112 marathons up and changed his life. It's you can do this at any age, and I come up with a number of there's a number of lines out there. If you don't use it, you lose it. This body, I find, the more you push it, the less illnesses you get. If you do stuff, you might get a few aches and pains. People tend to say, oh, a little bit of ache and pain, I'm going to pull back. You actually have to go through that ache and pain. You come out the other side and it will go away. And it's not in every case, but it's generally that the body is designed to hunt and gather. We know this. And it's not designed to eat cake and watch telly, even though we love to do that. So we have to get out there. And so the Couch to 5K must be probably only available on UK iTunes or downloads, but maybe it's around the world. But the
I think it's global. I actually do think it's
excellent,
global.
Very good.
Yeah, and you can download it, and it is literally just like a podcast that's been recorded, but it knows when you've done, you know, your time. Do you know what I mean? I think it. Do you GPS? Oh, I can't remember. That might be the NICAP. But it's so clever.
Yeah, it's very clever.
And the community on Facebook, Couch to 5K, is the most supportive and positive group I have ever been a member of.
Wow, wonderful. Well, that's great. So these are things happening around the world. This is the great part of global communications. As I say, every invention has its good and bad sides. You can learn how to help people do stuff, and other people who are negative get together and encourage people to do negative things. So that's
Somewhere else, yeah.
yeah. Yes, not where we are, hopefully. So that is great, and so I'm just saying for other people listening from around the world, look for those ones. I just like the sound of Couch to 5K, the 5K run. It's not that long, but Sarah, you're now going further than 5K, or are you up to?
Well, I applied for the London Marathon.
Wow.
It all came out at the end of October, November time. I applied.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything, and I don't think I've gotten into the ballot list. You know, there's you go through the ballot and you can also apply through charities. Well, I tried to get through with the MS Society because obviously it's a cause very close to my heart.
Yeah.
So I tried to run for MS and not heard anything back from that. So I think I've done something wrong on my application because I probably overestimated how long it would probably take me to run, which I think I put about 8 hours. Right. So they're probably thinking, well, if she's going to take 8 hours, like running the marathon, I don't really think we need to be clearing her off the roadside at the end when everyone else is finished. So I think, yeah, I might do it anyway. You know,
but hang on, what are you up to now? How long is the longest you've run so far?
13.5K.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I love it though, and I love kind of the pain of it.
Yeah.
I really like it when I finished, and I just get such buzz from it.
Well, my advice to you is to do the baby steps build up. So if you're at 13, but 10.5K is a quarter marathon. 13, well actually 14 is a third of a marathon. So you're just at the third of a marathon. So get to 21K, then you've done a half, and you can say I've run a half marathon. Just measure it and do it, and then do a 2/3, and then do a full, and then because there are organized marathons, but I do holistic marathons. I go out to places I want to go to whenever I want to go, as you can, and you don't have to worry about things, timing. Will I be free that day? Just go. and just build it up. And then once you've run 42k, 26 miles, you can say, well, I've already done it. Merci, merci. So you can just do it yourself. You're building it up in baby steps. That's the best way to go.
Yeah, and to be honest, we bought a treadmill back in October, and it has been the best thing. Unfortunately, back in sort of September time, the cycle route that we used to run around, there was a mugger who actually mugged one of the ladies who was out jogging on our cycle route, and they haven't caught him yet. It's quite a nasty mugging. So we bought this treadmill thinking, oh, you know, it's getting cold and dark, and like we're not ones for like jogging in the dark really. So we've got this treadmill, and it is literally taken over our lives. So
well, you know, you can run with me if you can get the Zwift app, which you can download for free. But you need to get a foot pod or something to make the treadmill link up with the app. That's the only thing you have to do. You can get it online, I'm sure, and delivered. But then you can come along and run with me. For a short 2K, 1K, doesn't matter how long. So
maybe all the Ks.
I did it kind of the other day with you, Eddie, because I just popped my phone on the treadmill and turned the trainer's voice off, and it was you, and I was just like, oh, I'm loving this. She's fantastic. She's motivating me. And
yes, you could do that. You could just put the thing with the Zwift app on, or because you can follow. Actually, if you get the Zwift companion app, which is blue, then I think you could probably watch it and follow. Can you see the route? I'm not sure. Anyway, but there must be some way of getting to do it. But you know, just run along with it, or just watch this on the screen on here. Yeah, the bit that we've got up there. And then, as you can see, I'm walking at the moment, so everyone's being very nice and walking with me. And I have to go to the loo and then talk to YouTubers with their questions. So thank you very much, Sarah and Sue, for talking. Great that everything you're doing is wonderful. And keep doing it.
Eddie, we're coming to see you tonight on your stand-up gig. For the first time, we've never seen you live.
Oh wow! Well, my stuff is it's very bonkers, very Monty Python. It's very off the wall. Lots of cats and dogs and dung beetles in at the moment.
Dung beetles! Can't wait for the dung beetles.
So yeah, I will. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me online at 12, at 7 p.m. London time. I will be online to the world, doing my 9th gig. After my 9th marathon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.